Shana Tova. It's a pleasure to be with you here this evening. I'm Ira Goldberg, and this is my wife, Cindy. I'll be doing the speaking. Cindy will ensure that I don't make too many mistakes, and she'll take over if I start crying, which those of you that know me well are probably expecting. I've been a member of Temple Bethel for almost 20 years. I've had the distinct pleasure of celebrating many holidays, simchas, and joyous occasions over the years, and wanted to share with you some of this history. Rarely am I asked to speak up. My daughter Molly was a bat mitzvah right here on this beamer in 2004 in a service officiated by Rabbi Singer, who I couldn't be happier to see tonight. She had spent years in Hebrew school and months preparing for with the rabbis and cantor. Of course, she was extraordinary, and the beautiful service was followed by a typically excessive amount of eating, drinking, and dancing. Also right here. Her Jewish education continued here at Temple, and 3 years later, she was confirmed by Rabbi Dan. She spent many days and evenings and weekend retreats developing a deep appreciation for her Jewish heritage while also enjoying the company of her friends, staff, and the clergy. Cindy and I had our third date serving Christmas dinner for the homeless at an annual Bethel-sponsored event. And then 8 years ago, right here on this beamer, my beautiful wife and I were married, while Jason kindly spun our favorite Grateful Dead tunes and Rabbi Jessica secretly danced in place. Then just 9 months ago, I had the pleasure of having Rabbi Jessica officiate the wedding of my daughter Molly and her now husband, my beloved son-in-law Elliot Silverstein. I could not have been happier or more proud of the continuity, tradition, and l'ador v'ador this represented. Unfortunately, it hasn't all been celebrations. As with most of us, life has its ups and downs. I've always had the comfort of knowing that my Bethel family is here for support and help navigating life's more difficult moments. None were more difficult than this past year when we lost my beloved dad, Theodore Zadie Dichter. He was 92 and still fun-loving, singing, dancing, and entertaining everyone he met. But at his age, the body's not as strong as the spirit, and cancer surgery followed by radiation and then a fall led to his passing in July. When he got sick, one of my first calls was to Jessica. I needed help, comfort, advice. She provided that and more, and throughout his illness, she was there when I needed her, even when I didn't realize I needed her. There were a lot of tough decisions to be made by my family and I, and Jessica's words always resonated. Whatever decision you make, it'll be the right one. It really helped and gave us confidence and comfort to all of us. Jessica then officiated my dad's funeral, where he received the kind of loving, compassionate, kind, and yes, even humorous service that he would have appreciated more than anyone. My mom clearly took the comic torch from her beloved husband that day. I'm happy to share the details with anybody, just ask me later. So, in case you haven't guessed, the title of this speech is Two Weddings and a Funeral. All kidding aside, the message here is that Temple Bethel has been a huge part of my life in times of joy, in times of sorrow, in times of reflection, and in times of need. The staff, rabbis, and everyone here has been there when needed for me and my family. Temple Bethel is not just a place to pray or to drop your kids off from Hebrew school. It truly is a community, and a compassionate community at that. We don't always realize how important this sense of community and support is until you need it. Cindy wasn't always as fortunate in her choice of temples. She never had quite the same relationship with rabbis as we have here. Sadly, when her dad passed at hospice many years ago, she had to rely on them to contact the rabbi who was on call that evening. She waited patiently outside for the rabbi to arrive. At last, the car pulled up. It was late and dark. It was the only car around. Must be the rabbi. Out of the car comes a priest in full collar. Confused, Cindy walks up and says, "Are you my rabbi?" And the kind priest said, "Yes, I am your rabbi on call this evening." At least she had a little chuckle amongst her tears, and I know what a blessing it has been for us to be part of this community. The goal of our appeal this year is to ensure that all families, regardless of their financial circumstances, still have the ability to participate in temple activities and be part of the Bethel community. 1 out of every 4 families in our congregation receives and needs some form of financial assistance, whether it be membership, preschool, religious school, or other need-based assistance. All of this is funded by the annual Giving Appeal, for which I am now asking you to contribute. My late dad loved the Borscht Belt comics, and he borrowed an ongoing joke that continued until his last days. Every time anyone ever asked him if he was comfortable, his immediate response was, "I make a living," right? Of course. So somebody knew the punchline. Everybody knew the punchline. What I'd like you now to do is take out your ticket, tear off the top part that you're going to need, and then move your hand down to tab and pick a number where you're comfortable making a donation. And then, if you don't mind, go down one more so it's just a little less comfortable tonight. Make sure your name and contact info is correct. Pass them over to the ushers who will be circulating around the temple. These contributions will ensure that we can carry on the temple's mission of making this loving community and the services we provide available to all who need or desire them, regardless of their circumstances. Gamar Hatima Tova, may you and your loved ones be sealed in the book of life and enjoy a happy and healthy new year. Shana Tova, and thanks for your kindness and generosity.